Hey there, I'm Tyler and welcome to my channel. It hit me the other day that it is almost time to start buying presents already. So to help you out, I put together 10 of my favorite tools for the woodworker in your family. Now I will say that most of these tools are not cheap, so when the woodworker in your life is a little gun shy about that price, don't come back and blame me. But I will say that all of these tools will either save an incredible amount of time or it will take the comfort level of using those tools up so high that it will absolutely be worth the price. Now these gifts aren't in any particular order of things that I like more or less than another or even price. They're all just tools that I like and that have saved me an incredible amount of time in the shop and made the experience in the shop that much more pleasurable than it was before. Nobody likes sanding, so two of the things on this are actually sanders that will save you an immense amount of time. If any of you have used the typical random orbit sander and sanded anything for over 5 or 10 minutes, you know that your fingers start to tingle, your hand starts to hurt, and it doesn't do a very good job. It takes forever. This is a Mcguire sander. It is a 6-inch, which I highly recommend a 6-inch. Going to save you a ton of time. And this thing is like caressing an angel's wing instead of scratching your fingers over 60 grit sandpaper. An absolute pleasure to use. And paired with a dust extractor, again, which I highly recommend, it will save your lungs. I emptied this the other day, blew out the inside, and was disgusted, quite frankly, with how it fogged up the field next to us. It's not like the bigger dust which you blow off and it falls down. This is like a super fine dust that just stayed in the air. There's a little bit on the machine itself right here, and it's like a super fine food coloring powder or something like that. I can't believe that I used to breathe that in all the time. So the Mcguire 6-inch paired with the dust extractor will save your woodworker's lungs and an incredible amount of time. The sticker price will be a little shocking at first, but absolutely awesome to have. And links to all this stuff will be down in the description below if you are so interested in purchasing these. No woodworker in the entire world will admit that they have enough clamps. You can see over here that I have a splendid variety myself. It doesn't matter what kind of clamp it is. A gear clamp, a K-body Revo, a squeeze clamp, got bar clamps, got other squeeze clamps, you got F-style clamps. Any clamp will make your woodworker happy. Highly recommend the Bessie K-body. These things are an absolute beast and will help keep all of your projects nice and square. Every woodworking project needs to be finished properly, and it's often a step that is rushed through because you're excited to be done with the project, the end is in sight, and you ruin all of that hard work that you put into that project up to that point. So I highly recommend spraying finishes whenever possible, especially with the finishes available today. They are very forgiving and an easy learning curve to get a perfect finish. I use a Fuji Q5 Platinum sprayer, but you definitely don't need to go up to something this powerful to get into the world of spraying. I started with a Harbor Freight spray gun and an air compressor. Great way to start, cheap way to start. That's only about a $10 entry fee. And then you can work up to something like this. You don't necessarily need a 5-stage turbine. You can get a Q3, you can get a mini mite, and you can spray some awesome finish as well. I actually like to mix my stain into my top coat, therefore removing the step of actually staining and then still spraying 3 or 4 top coats on top of it. Again, Fuji has several different systems that can fit your budget, and they have different spray guns for those systems, and you can actually get Fuji guns for an air compressor as well. If these are still out of your budget, there is always something like a HomeRite or a Wagner sprayer that will fit your needs as well. A moisture meter, a great gift and one of the cheaper ones on our list. This is a great way to take that step from maybe your construction grade lumber from the home centers up to some nicer hardwood. It's always good to take a moisture meter to the lumber yard with you to make sure you're not getting something that's soaking wet and has to sit and dry for several months before you can use it. This is a Lignomat moisture meter that I've got. It is a pinned moisture meter, so you actually have to poke these into the wood to get the reading, which if you don't like that option and you want to get a pinless one, which you can just lay on the wood to take that reading, those are a little more expensive than these, but those will work fine as well. Again, link to this one down in the description below if you're looking for a moisture meter. So one of the less expensive ones on our list, this is a 3M Respirator and Filters. This is a latching one, so you'll have it over your head and you can quickly take it on or off without actually taking all of the straps apart. This is absolutely vital to have in the shop to protect your lungs. Even if you have a dust collector, shop vac, air filter, all that good stuff, there are still a lot of fine dust particles in the air that will ruin your lungs over time. And for any woodwork Any woodworker that I know wants to do this for a long time, and this is an easy way to make sure you stay out in the shop. Now, 3M did just come out with these new 2291 filters, and I don't really want to wear pink in the shop, but this was the option up until recently for 99.99% particle gathering. Now you can get these 2291 filters. They're not quite as pink, which is awesome. And 3M actually boasts that it's a little bit easier on your lungs to breathe through this, so less work. And I have noticed that it is a little bit easier when I put these on, but it could have been because this old one was a little bit dirty when I made the switch. So 3M respirator and filters, highly recommend it, and quite honestly, it's a must for anyone that is working in a wood shop. So this crazy contraption is a Doohickey from Fastcap LLC, and they call it a $10 million stick. It is for use on the miter saw. No, it doesn't cost $10 million. It probably costs about 15. But the reason they call it that is because your fingers are probably worth about $10 million. So in this case, you can be using the chop saw, holding those small pieces with your hand far, far away. Might not be something that everyone thinks they need, but I shouldn't even have to recommend this to anyone. Make sure you got one in the shop. This is a quick acting CA glue and activator. This one happens to be from Fastcap LLC. It's called 2P10, which is just 2 part 10 seconds for curing time. And this isn't a replacement for wood glue, but if your woodworker has something they're working on, need to glue a little piece together and wants to move on, not wait the 20 minutes for a wood glue to set up and cure, fast acting CA glue is the way to go. And it's actually super fun to use. So put your glue down, spray the activator, put it together, and it just stuck. It makes me laugh almost every time how quick it actually works. And this is actually a personal favorite of mine. This is a Mcguire Nicholas tool pouch. It has a little clip, so it will clip right on your belt. And I've used this one ever since I got into woodworking. I used to take all these different screwdrivers, ice pick, utility knife, and stick them in various different pockets. And then I thought one day, hey, I need something I can put on and off my belt really quick, and I can hold a little bit more tools in. So this will set you back about $9. Again, linked down in the description below. And this is a must-have, quite honestly, in the shop. It'll save you so much time having to look around for those different screwdrivers you need. And as a side tip, I have my Phillips and flathead with totally different feeling handles so that I can reach down and know which one I'm grabbing without looking down there. Just a fun little DIYTyler tip. Highly recommend this one. Super cheap to get. Your woodworker will absolutely love it. Now this is a drum sander. It is definitely not cheap. And I actually haven't had one for too long. I've had this in my shop for probably about 2 months now. But to be honest with you, I don't know what I did without this for so long in my shop. It saves you an incredible amount of time, not just a lot of time, an incredible amount of time standing. If your woodworker does a lot of doors or solid edge banding, you gotta have one of these in the shop. It will save you so much time, it's not even funny. This is a Supermax 1632, which means I can put a 16-inch piece in here, or I can do 32 total by hanging it 16 inches out the other side and then flipping it over and doing that other side on a second round. Again, I don't know how I live without this in my shop for so long. This is such a time saver and so much fun to use. Lay your rough piece in there, goes through, nice and sanded on the other side. Now right here we got a Rockler router table with a router lift in it, but I mostly want to point out the dust collection chute on this. Any serious woodworker will probably have a router. It's one of the first things that I did get, although I didn't have a big router table like this for quite some time. Definitely recommend that. A router is a very dangerous tool. Honestly, it's the one that scares me the most in my shop. They're so loud, spin so fast. So I always like to use it stationary if possible and run my workpiece over that. So I highly recommend getting a router table, much safer on your fingers. And if you can pair it with a dust chute like this, you're saving your lungs by not throwing all of that dust in the air and a ton of cleanup. I don't know if you can see around here right now, but I just made 20 drawer and door faces. All had to be routed in a shaker style, so I had a groove and tongue that all had to fit together. So I had like 80 some odd pieces that I had to run over this router, and I haven't cleaned up since. So this router system setup with the dust chute, absolutely fantastic. Again, this one's available from Rockler, and if your woodworker doesn't have a router table, I would highly recommend this one. I hope you enjoyed this video and it helped you make the perfect gift choice for the woodworker in your life. If it did, please hammer that thumbs up button and definitely be sure to give the free gift of subscribing to the DIYTyler YouTube channel so you never miss when we upload a new woodworking video. I'm DIYTyler and you have a good one.